I'm a big fan of classic horror movies, and I mean like classic horror movies. The older the better, 30s, 40s, 50s, back when horror movies were actually fun. So when a pair of games came across my desk last week, both inspired by that golden age of horror, well, I was obviously thrilled to play them. One was Blood of the Werewolf, and one was this, Tales from Space, Mutant Blobs Attack. One got it wrong. One was Tales from Space, Mutant Blobs Attack. And I'll be honest, it's a subjective thing. Like when you talk about how a game controls, or if it has technical problems, those things aren't subjective. The game's style, on the other hand, sometimes that's very subjective. But for me, that's what separates Blood of the Werewolf and Tales from Space. I mean, they're both 2D platformers, they're both from Midnight City, they're both inspired by classic horror movies. This one does it right. It's funny, it's charming, it's beautiful, and it does a better job incorporating elements from those classic films. I mean, both of these games claim to. Tales from Space actually does. And to me, that makes it a lot more memorable. And it all starts with the premise. Scientists have this massive laboratory filled with living blobs, and because that's what scientists do in horror films, they're performing all kinds of experiments on them. That is, until one escapes, because that's what blobs do in horror films. Anyway, you play as said blob, and the whole game is basically about making the humans pay. You roll around, absorbing everything you can into your gelatinous body, growing in size so that eventually, helicopters, tanks, even entire cities are no match for your reign of viscous terror. Now cue the screaming 1950s housewife. So, in terms of the gameplay, Tales from Space is basically a puzzle platformer. Your entire objective is to grow, so the more you absorb, the more you can absorb, and the further you can go in the level. Of course, some of the stuff you need to absorb is initially out of reach, so it takes some puzzle solving and even a bit of exploring to get there. So really, Tales from Space is basically a 2D Katamari Damacy, but with a 1950s horror theme. So I'm happy. The game does a great job of reinforcing that concept of growing. I mean, in the first level, you're so small, you're sneaking around a fraternity. You're going through pipes and drains and popping out of toilets, but it's not long before, again, you're big enough to swallow tanks and helicopters, and things escalate even further from there. So it's this awesome marriage of gameplay concept and level design coming together to reinforce and play off of each other. As a result, the game feels incredibly cohesive. And of course, for me, it's the aesthetic concept that really drives it home. Tales from Space goes all in on its time period. And that means it's not just horror references, it's also about the culture of the 1950s in general. Billboards boast the benefits of living in the suburbs. Houses have that House of Tomorrow Today look. I mean, even the music, it's just really well done. And that cultural backdrop works beautifully with all the horror references. So what doesn't work? Well, a couple things actually. For starters, there's only 24 levels, so it's not the biggest game in the world. And although the game generally controls well, that's not always the case. Specifically, there are these platforms that you can move telepathically. They're the biggest pain in the ass in this entire game. And they're just a nightmare to move properly. And there are some bonus levels where you're rolling through a top-down stage and you're collecting pellets. But it seems like they were designed for tilt, because playing them with an analog stick, it's so easy it almost seems pointless. But still, given how cool the rest of the game is, it absorbs those issues pretty easily. It's clever, it's smart, it's stylish. Above all else, it's fun. And actually, to the game's credit, I think the idea is so strong. This could just be the beginning. It seems like you could do even more with this. But until then, visit the snack bar, grab some popcorn, pop on your 3D glasses, and... Actually, the snack bar closed 50 years ago. It's Tales from Space! Mutant Blobs Attack! For the Xbox 360.
We wow wow wow, we wow wow, wow wow wow, wow wow wow. Wow wow wow, wow wow wow.